The more girls that talk, the more scared they're going to become. And the more times that we talk, the more girls are going to try to shut up. And they call us snitches, by the way. We're dirty in the game.
26 seconds. 26 seconds.
Life was not meant to be that hard. You know, even girls that are not used to being treated right, you know, this is not how it's supposed to be.
I started working the escort services in Minnesota. Wasn't good money, so I started dancing at the exotic strip clubs. One night when I was working a couple months into it, this guy walked in and I was like, oh, this guy is gorgeous. He had like jewelry on, diamonds, he was dripping with gold, and he bought me drinks, bought me flowers, took me out to the clubs, and I told him what I was doing. I was honest with him. I was like, look, I'm a hustler. That's what I do for a living. I hustle men out their money. He goes, you mean you turn tricks? I'm like, yeah, I'm a prostitute, whatever, but a high-class prostitute. Like, I pick my clients.
I was just so starved for love and affection and just things that I never received as a child. I just chose people that were just like my father.
When a child does not know or understand what love looks like from a parent, they look for love in all the wrong places.
Since I was just so used to the abuse from my father, it was normal to me. It was normal to be punished for misbehaving.
I needed to hear those words of, you know, of encouragement that I was beautiful, that I was intelligent, that I was smart. I was so determined to be beautiful and sexy because I was like, you know what? If my dad says I'm a whore, I'm gonna be a whore.
Coming to Vegas, you see that it was that possibility. It was that one opportunity where I could stand on my own 2 feet as a woman.
First night I worked, I signed up for the escort services. The calls and the amount of money that we all made, you know, let's say $1,000 call, the agency gets the $150, you tip the phone girl $100 or $50, whatever it is. So actually what you really made on that call was $1,250. That kind of money for a pimp, that's good money for one girl. Imagine if he has 5 girls out there stacking like that, and they're coming home and they're breaking themselves to him. That's an easy job.
We're the ones that are out there, that are in the midst of the chaos. We're out there breaking ourselves, getting exposed to all kinds of things, aggression or diseases, just all kinds of stuff. And we just come back, you know. We want to curl up next to these guys and just, we want to be told that, you know, good job, or you know, you just want him to, you just want to make him proud.
I worked that night and I brought home the money. And he said, break yourself. And I was like, what? Oh, you got the wrong girl. I ain't breaking nothing, you're crazy. That night was my rude awakening. First night I got sex trafficked. Took all my money, he beat me. I had like this huge black eye and my lip was bleeding and torn a little bit. My eardrum was like, I couldn't hear out of it because he had hit me so hard.
You know, I've had a gun held to my head, I've been pistol whipped, I've had a huge gash.
Said he was sorry for hitting me, this is your fault. You know, baby, I wouldn't have hit you if you wouldn't have gone out of pocket with me. This is how it's gonna be, the rules are this. You're gonna break yourself to me every night. I'm gonna be your daddy, that's my nickname, Daddy, you know, and I'm gonna have other girls. And if you love me, this is what you're gonna do for me.
I said something like, called breaking a girl. And he would take me in the back bedroom and he would try to suffocate me and make me beg him for my life. I was so in love with him. He would take other girls and have sex with them in front of me, to the point that I tried to kill myself. And I remember he picked me up by my bleeding arm and told me, "This is such a turn on." It was, it was just, any normal person would run from such an experience. Me, no.
I wanted to escape. I mean, and this is the part that it gets emotional. Because I loved him. I loved that man with all my heart. For 5 years, I didn't care what anyone said about him. I defended him. I lied to the police for him. I turned out girls for him because I loved that man. I would have died for that man, and he knew it. I brought that man the most money he ever had in his life. And you know why? Because I was brainwashed.
I always thought the more I would love them, the more I would do, the more I would obey, the more I would listen, the more things I would do for them, that I would get the one thing that I never had, was love.
Because that's what you're taught. See, you're taught to believe that that's pimping and that's how it's supposed to be. The only way you believe anyone's going to really love you is if you submit to it. And you become hard, you know. But inside, deep inside, there's one thing he couldn't do, is break my love. My spirit might have been broken, but the love inside of me never got broken. I could still love as a human being.
I just had this unconditional love for people. And there was nothing that you couldn't have said or done to me, and I wouldn't have forgiven you in a matter of seconds. And honestly, I don't know if that was, like I said, God and Jesus looking out for me ever since I was a little child, just seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. Or if there was just a little psychological pattern where, you know, he would beat me up 1 second, and the next he would sit me on his lap, pat me on the head, and say, "I will never do it again. It's going to be okay."
And it's ironic, he let me have a couple friends, but that was it. Because you had to stay in pocket with your folks in your stable. And in fact, if I didn't have those friends around when this was happening to me, I think I would have died. I think I would have just given up.
I guess with the game or whatever, you know, I got hooked on the drugs, which didn't make it any easier, but it also made it easier for them to control me. You know, every time you get with a guy that turns out to be a pimp, you end up losing everything.
I overdosed on August 2nd, 2003. That's the night I really fully surrendered, like, all my will to do drugs and sell my body again and be a hustler. I prayed to Jesus. I mean, basically it was near-death experience. I just knew that I was never going to go back. I read the New Testament for the first time and I got rocked. I was like, Jesus, I'm the woman in adultery. Jesus, I'm that chick that everybody wanted to stone. I'm her, you know? And I read that he said that the tax collectors and the prostitutes are going to enter heaven before these Pharisees, and it rocked me. Because I thought to myself, how the heck could a prostitute get into heaven before a religious man of God? That Jesus guy, he's got to be pretty cool. Like, he must love me. Like, how could I be into heaven, right?
It's just amazing to see how God fixes things. You know, and I'm not going to have to subject myself to these other things anymore to have a normal life.
I heard a little voice in my head, and I know it wasn't me, because why would I say this to myself? You're my little fisher. You're my little fisher of women. And Matthew 19 came to my head. I will teach you how to fish for people. You're my little hooker, Annie. So, hookers for Jesus. All the things that Jesus did for me, I couldn't be selfish in my heart and not tell people about his love. Because all of us are misguided, and all of us, in some form or another, are love hustlers.
One of the girls that I actually knew from the outs, because they knew of my profession, you know, I mean, we talk amongst each other in jail, of course. They knew what I had been doing. And they gave me Annie's book. And I remember I took it back to my cell. And I spoke to my bunkie, and she looks at me and she goes, "Oh yeah, you should apply to that house." I was like, the house, what are you talking about? And I did. I also read Annie's book, which was very, very hard because we have a very similar story. But it kind of got me on the right track. And I ended up getting accepted.
Destiny House didn't come about until 2007 because I had nowhere to bring the girls. I thought, you know what? I want a home for women. Like, why can't we have a home for women? Why can't there be a place for them to rest for half a year to a year? Let them get their lives together. We'll teach them. We'll get them their GEDs. Let them sign up for some vocational training. So Destiny House is to dream, discover, and develop into a perfect destiny that God has for you. Dream again. No longer will there be nightmares. They'll dream about new visions and see new things for their life because God has created them for a new purpose.
I came from a place where I thought that my life will never change. Now that there is a chance for me at a normal life. And it's the one thing that I've always wanted. And it's finally here. So I don't even know how to express my gratitude, It's amazing.